Piqua Parents as Teachers is a support and educational program for any family in the Piqua area that has kids birth through age 6. I don't know, has anyone heard about Piqua Parents as Teachers? Yay! There's 4 aspects to our program, and we do home visits, monthly home visits to families. We are on the school schedule, so it's 9 months out of the year. We also have play groups on Tuesdays, which are in mornings and in the evenings. We do yearly screenings to make sure families and their kids are on target for their age, and we are a referral service. So if any of our families say, you know, I just moved to the area and I need a daycare provider, we have a list of providers that we can give to those families. So that's kind of us in a gist. Parents as Teachers has been around since, it started in the state of Missouri in the 1970s. And Piqua is fortunate enough to have Piqua Parents as Teachers since 2000. And at that time, the schools were concerned about high school graduation rates, and the children that were entering kindergarten didn't seem to be ready. So it was the board that consisted of several people from Piqua, Troy, Darke County, that came together and decided that there needed to be a program in Piqua that would service these families that needed some help and be a support system. So when I started, there was a program in Troy, there was a program in West Milton, and a program in Piqua. And Piqua is the only one that has survived. We get great support from Piqua City Schools. We're a United Way agency, and we are a, what was I going to say? We do get a lot of our funding from Piqua City Schools as well as United Way, and just grants throughout the community. Piqua's fortunate because we are a standalone program for Piqua City Schools. Our curriculum, the Parents as Teachers curriculum, you can find it at the Learning Place at Head Start. You can also find our curriculum for Help Me Grow. They use our curriculum and they call it Parents as Teachers curriculum, but we are the only standalone program for Piqua City Schools. Let me give you some stats. It is, there's 2 truths that Piqua, that Parents as Teachers believes in, and that is one, that babies are born to learn, and the second one is that every parent is the baby's first and most influential teacher. We really try to encourage families to, sometimes the families will come to play groups and then not decide they don't want home visits. To be completely a part of our program, the family has to be part of the home visits and the play groups. And sometimes home-to-home visitation kind of worries the parents a little bit about us coming into their home, but once we're into the home, it's okay. You know, they don't see it as scary. There's 3 of us that do the home visitation. I'm the program director, and Kim is a financial director, and then we have Dana, who also is a parent educator. Last year, and this just is some of our stats from the 2018-2019 school year. We started out in 2000 with 15 families, and we are now at 80 to 90 families with 120 children. We screen every one of our kids once a year. We use 2 tools for the screening. We use the ASQ and the Denver to make sure that kids are on target for their age before they enter kindergarten. If we do see some concerns or red flags, we do refer them on to Miami County Preschool for screening, or sometimes there's other concerns as well. Help Me Grow has different therapies that they're able to, so if they're under the age of 3, then we do refer them on to Help Me Grow for the different speech and fine and gross motor therapies. We screened 90% of our kids. Now, that's probably not 100%. We'd really try for 100%, but our community is, they move a lot. So sometimes we can't find our kids. So, but every kid that we can screen, we do. We identified 21 kids last year with delays. We did a total number of 619 home visits. We had 63 play groups. So we are a United Way agency, so we do track and we have to show outcomes for United Way. Our poverty level last year was 46%, and the families at risk were 89%. And the number of new referrals we had last year was 77. So we are growing, we are busy, and there's a lot of need in the community. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any questions about what we do?
How are families selected?
So we have never advertised. So this week I've gotten 2 referrals from CASA, which is the Court-Appointed Special Advocate Program in Troy, in Miami County. I've gotten referrals from the preschool that the families that already have a 3-year-old may have some younger kids in that family. Who else have I gotten referrals from this week? Children's Services. They contact us pretty regularly about different families. We are like the school, the community, and the family. We're like that, because the teachers tell us, you guys are in the home. You know what's going on in the family, So that's, why they call us, the preschool teachers, and they say, hey, we really need you to figure out something for us. What's going on in that family that the child is behaving so, badly, or, some challenging behavior.
What percentage of a positive response do you get?
What kind of a positive?
What is the percentage of the number of people the parents contacted that respond positively to participate?
Yeah, so we have, once they're in our program, they're like 100%. It just depends. Each year is a different number. This year we've had great luck in reaching families and having families, because we're a volunteer program. So like the courts may give us a referral. Well, we can't, unless the family says, yes, we want you to come into our home, then we can't initiate anything. Sometimes they think it's court mandated, but we're a volunteer program. So they have to want us to be there.
Yeah, I understand that. I just wondered how many actually take advantage.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have that stat, but that's a good question. I'd say 80%. 80%. Some of the families, I still, after 18 years, I still have. So once they're in the program, they continue to be in the program unless they move or their child goes into kindergarten. And I was reminded of that yesterday when I had a family that said they're moving to Pleasant Hill. And they said, would you please come to Pleasant Hill? We really want you to come. And I said, well, I'll talk to our board. We're really supposed to stay in the Piqua City School area. But I said some of those outlying areas we can go to. So I will make sure that I check that out. So yeah, we also get referrals from the GRADS program, which is the program at Upper Valley Career Center for pregnant moms or moms that have children already. So, and we do speak there. I do have a video I'd like to show you that might answer some of the questions or give you some more information about the program. I do have brochures. So I don't know how to, do I just put this in there?
We don't have anything to put a CD.
What you need?
That's it. We could if it was on a thumb drive,
Oh,
but I can get that out to our membership.
okay, that's fine. Okay. So,
Kathy, what's your most common cry for help? If somebody wanting to reach the organization, like,
challenging behavior,
pardon me,
challenging behavior.
and behavior.
Um,
What age usually? I know you get up in junior high.
Well, this is to age 6. Our program is through age, like through kindergarten. So we, for challenging behavior, if their child isn't meeting the milestones, you know, if they've gone to their doctor and the doctor, they just don't understand. A lot of parents, I mean, I probably would have done this program when my kids were growing up. Because parents don't know, when should my baby be rolling over? When should my baby be sitting up? When should I expect my first words, you know, to come from my child's mouth? Oh, look at that.
Not sure if these work. Last time they used their laptops.
Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, and also, like when they're entering kindergarten or first grade and there's behavior problems, is there any consideration, this might not just be, this might be learning disability problems where they aren't comprehending, or they feel lost?
Well, the early identification is usually better, you know, to get them some help. Yes, we work with other people, if there is some, you know, good Samaritan health services, if the family feels like they need some therapy for their child, you know, we've got, we do talk with them. Yeah, they do a full evaluation on most of the children, even before they get into the
I
kindergarten.
had a situation with my youngest son years ago, and that was before Pickle had a psychologist on staff. They didn't have, they used to borrow one from Dayton, Ohio. And anyways, he had problems in the kindergarten and couldn't figure out why. And it wasn't until a teacher from a church who had taught children with learning disabilities down in Texas realized that he had hearing perception problems. And until she directed us to get help testing and that. We took him down to Children's Hospital and went through a clinic down there and was able to help him out. And by the 3rd grade, he was on the honor roll. So it just really turned his life around.
You know, and the infants, you know, the hearing test when they're at the hospital, you know, when they're first born. And then there's also a referral sheet that I use if I see concerns or complaints for the hearing, as well as vision, okay?
So you're screening all this at once yearly on every child?
We are. And if, like I said, if we do see concerns, we do a referral form and try to get those children the services that they need.
From what I hear, Pickle City Schools has really turned things around, and they had really taken learning disabilities serious.
They do.
Nothing like it used to be years ago.
They do, and I think way back in 2000, you know, they were pretty progressive in trying to figure out, you know, how can we help the needs of these families, you know, that are struggling with their children, and the children weren't reaching their milestones, and they knew that they needed a program.
I think too, Karen, I realized that it's important for parents to know they're not only there to protect the kids and feed the kids, but they are teachers, and they have that responsibility. And when you know, their behavior in front of the kids, and a lot of the things go into what the kids take in when they're who they are in life.
And one thing I didn't mention is that we are a literacy program. So we take, at each visit, we take a book, we read a book, we do music, and the Parents as Teachers curriculum is research and evidence-based. So like a 13-month-old visit, we're looking for eye-hand coordination, 13 months. So we are putting clothespins in a bottle, like an old milk jug, okay? And we go through, so I have the milestone sheet for the 13-month-old. Right here. So 4 domains in child development: language, intellectual, social, emotional, and motor. So for fine motor, we're looking for picking up tiny objects with this pincher grasp. So we give them Cheerios, you know, to see if he's using that, and not the raking at 13 months. He's turning pages in a stiff book. He's cruising around, you know, the table. He's walking, pulling himself up, and cruising around tables. May not be walking yet. And as far as language, is your child responding to no? Does he, if he's going to put his finger in the light socket and you say no, does he know to bring that finger out? Does he jabber? Does he say words like mama and dada? Intellectual, is he placing, so this is where our 13-month clothespins in a bottle, is he placing shapes into a shape sorter? Is he using fine motor control? Does he remember the location of a hidden object? So if you put something underneath, if he sees it, let's say your cell phone, because kids are always asking for something, if you put it underneath the blanket, does he know to look underneath? That's all part of cognitive development. And social emotional, is he singing? Is he trying to do hand motions? Is he responding to you when you say his name? Does he initiate any kind of contact with other people? Does he like it when other people talk to him? Does he smile? If you bump into him, does he look at you? So that's kind of what we do on a 13-month visit. And each month is geared towards that month. So like I said, it's all evidence-based and research-based. 14 months, I don't remember right offhand what that is, but we go from 1 month to 36 months, and then when they reach 3 years of age, we go by subject. So we do math, we do language, we do motor, we do science. So those are the types of home visits that we do, and we follow the school schedule. So 9 months out of the year we have 1 visit. Now we've been asked, because our board is wonderful, that would we think about doing some summer activities to keep the families kind of involved, because then when it comes to be fall, we sometimes have lost some of our families. Just natural. So we're going to think about that for this summer, maybe do some play groups in the park. We do field trips once a month. We go to the fire department. We do the library. We do the puppet show at the library. And these are experiences some families don't get. And I started to talk about the books. Our Christmas books this year, Toys for Tots were able to help us, and that's kind of a shout out to Toys for Tots because they really helped us with our Christmas books this year. but sometimes those books are the only presents under the tree. So they just take them out of our bag and put them under the tree. So, and then we do a birthday book, and then a book at the end of the year and one at the beginning of the year. So they have 4 books usually. If they stay in our program the whole year, they'll have 4 books. Is there any questions? Any other questions?
I got one more comment.
That's okay.
In the person is expecting and their child to meet a chronological plan of development, and then gets all concerned and worried that their son or daughter's not doing what they should be doing at that time frame. You know, they all should remember that Einstein, I guess, he didn't talk till he was about 3 years old. They thought he'd never amount to anything.
That's true.
And so there's delayed reactions in different kids. Every kid is an individual. And they don't always meet the criteria that is expected.
No, that's true, but there is a window, you know, of opportunity where children do develop, and if you don't access that window, then it's a problem at some point. We are trying to help these kids before they get into school, you know, before kindergarten, and you know, if there are concerns, we're trying to meet those needs before they get there.
I think what you do is wonderful.
Well, thank you. We are pretty passionate about our program. We really love what we do. Like I said, there's 3 of us, so yeah. So yes.
I would like to say, obviously we have a great partnership, but I'm hearing and listening, and I learn every time I talk with any of these folks. It's amazing. They all deserve sainthood. But just to give you a little insight, she mentioned the transient population, and that's a huge challenge for them, for everybody. But when my kids were little, this age group, if I was concerned about something that I saw or didn't see with their development, I would call my mom, or I would call my dad, or I would call a grandparent to get some feedback from that. The folks that she's dealing with don't have that a lot of times because they're transient. So them being in the home and identifying and helping working through things. Now, what else they don't necessarily have access to, I can run my kid to the doctor immediately. Oh my gosh, I'm not seeing this. Or I can call a medical professional, and they don't have those resources. And this team will help direct people into the paths they need to go to help their kiddos get support, so that by the time they get to 5, 6 years old when they're enrolling in kindergarten, they may have an advantage that they wouldn't have had before because something's been identified. So the resources that they provide to the families that need the most are very, very valuable, and especially that curriculum. I mean, those kids have a job. So great work, and we appreciate everything you do to help our families.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I've been with her through this whole program. The things that it's changed so much. But what blew me away was some of these families don't even have transportation.
Sure.
They can't even get to the playgroups. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, they don't drive. They don't, you know. Some of them are, you know, 15-year-olds raised by 15-year-olds. So they're making a difference.
And if you think of something as simple as transportation, that many of us think is a simple thing. So I could say, well, but you have public transit, Miami County public transit, that costs money.
Right.
There's an Uber in town, that costs money. There's a taxi service in town. All those things aren't necessarily accessible to those people. So getting folks in the home, again, I agree with you. I think it's a very valuable service that they provide.
Well, in Miami County Transit, we've got tokens for families, but you know, it means calling a couple days ahead of time. It means trying to organize your life a little bit, and our families sometimes aren't able to do that. So, yes.
For you and Tony as well, when they reach school age, 5 or 6, until they start kindergarten candidate. Do they have any problem, these kids, do they have any problem moving, integrating into public school environment?
Not normally. Most of the children that we see red flags with, we are going to encourage them to be screened through Miami County Preschool. And then once they're at Miami County Preschool, that's usually where they're going to primary, school. So they get very comfortable going to preschool and then just heading right on into kindergarten and first grade. So.
I'll give you an example. We don't know who those kids are. Like if I walked in, or our principals, our teachers, they would say, oh, this kiddo came through that program. They all integrate the same given their situation. So if it's a student with special needs that's been identified, they can't come through Miami County Preschool, they're already in our buildings, which is perfect because they've helped parents get them to that place where they get identified. The behavior ones are really the biggest increase that they're seeing, that we're seeing, that every community is seeing in that 3 through 10 age range. And those are the kids that really struggle with integration. It has nothing to do with the service that's offered. It's just something that's not working properly for that particular kid. And they're going to struggle until we identify something that's helpful for them.
We started Wilder, and then we moved to Spring Creek, and now we're at the Pickwood Junior High. We love it. Wherever we go, we love it. But being at Spring Creek, we were with the primary, the kids that were going into kindergarten and first grade. So some of our families would call and they would say, hey, can you meet my child at the front door? He's really got some anxiety today. So we're down there meeting them, It's just, that was great. We would love to be in a primary again someday, but we're very happy where we're at. So, yeah. Did we get we don't have it set up? Okay. All right, that's good. Oh, yes.
I think in the junior high level or the secondary schooling, I think the most important thing for the kids is just for the parents, or for them to know that their parents are interested in their education. Which I think, a lot of kids think, well, the parents just send me here, just get me out of their hair and babysitting assistant, where the parents that take a real interest in the kids, read to them, and take part in the school activities and things like that. I think that is really what causes kids to excel and achieve a lot more.
Well, because we're a United Way agency, we have to show outcomes. Okay, I think I said that. And part of my job is to do stats every year. And I have my stats here. So one of the things we look at is whether or not we have parent participation later in, as the child is going through and in primary, in the junior high, in their intermediate. Is the family participating? We don't know if it's because we encouraged that in the younger days, but we want to think that we did. Let's see what the parent participation was for. I'll find it here. So, parent participation was 75%, which isn't a huge, but we don't know what it would have been if we weren't involved. I should say that we had 9 graduates last year that were able to graduate from Pickwa High School, and we had 9 that graduated. And we had our first valedictorian, Tessa Arnett. She was a Parents as Teachers girl.
Incredible young person.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So that was really a good thing for us. We try to figure out where our 9 graduates were going. 6 were going to college. 2 were working, and we weren't sure about the other one. Then we did, we tracked the kids with their spring dibble scores. Those were all 75% or higher as far as kindergartners being on track, first graders being on track, second grade and third grade. So the attendance average for our kiddos was 94%. And behavior was a little bit lower, it was 71%. So, but, okay. I have brochures up here. I have information about our play groups. I have all kinds of information if anyone's interested. Okay? Did I move around too much? Okay. Okay.